Hey, this is JR St. Julien with the St. Julien Real Estate Group of EXP Realty, and welcome to my San Diego market update for April 2022. This market date is all about the interest rates. So just a recap on what we have been seeing. The median home sales price has been steadily appreciating. Right now, we're seeing just over 20% appreciation year over year. But if you look at the trend line in this chart, you will see that the beginning of 2022 looks slightly more aggressive than the appreciation that we saw at the beginning of 2021. And you remember, 2021 was a whopping year. A lot of people were asking me, hey, are these higher interest rates going to affect the prices in the housing market? Now, obviously, we're looking at data that's a month old, but so far, we have not seen an effect to the actual data that's coming out of the housing market. Months of inventory are still hovering between 0.6 and 0.5, and that's the key driver of everything in this market. Now, we do have a substantial increase in interest rates that we've seen over the last couple months. Interest rates right now are hovering in the 5% range, depending on your buyer profile. Now, that being said, for investors and people that are looking at second homes, those interest rates are north of 6%. So that will start to impact people. But the question is it having a significant of enough impact to start to actually impact the data coming out of the housing market? And based on the statistics that we have out of the month of March, the answer is no. Now, will that change? Most likely. Now, I don't believe still to this date in the San Diego market that we're going to start to see price decreases. I do believe that we're going to start to see a slow in the appreciation. Now, again, if you refer back to that chart that I mentioned, you can see that appreciation was running up quite rapidly, and it even looked like it was running up slightly more aggressively than what we saw in 2021. I do expect is for that level of appreciation to start to slow down. Now, at the end of 2021, we saw the same thing happen. We saw the rate of appreciation start to slow down, and the market kind of plateaued until we got to the beginning of this year, and then it took off like a rocket ship again. So the moral of this story is interest rates are higher. I don't expect them to come down anytime soon. If you look back over the last 30 plus years or so at the interest rates, the average is probably somewhere around 7%. We haven't hit that number yet. But obviously, now that we're in the 5%, we're much higher than what we've seen over the last few years. Now, since 1984, interest rates have steadily declined. This is the first time that it looks like we're going to start seeing a steady incline. And I do expect that to continue because inflation is still rampant. You go to the grocery store, there's no milk in the grocery store. Hey, that's going to be a problem. I don't think that's going to be a problem that's going to be solved right away. So in order to combat that problem, the Federal Reserve will continue to reduce the amount of mortgage-backed securities that they're purchasing, which will indirectly cause mortgage rates to continue to rise. And that's what we've been seeing. Now, the rate at which they have been rising has been astronomical, and it is starting to impact folks, and it is starting to impact the market slightly. Now, what I'm seeing as a real estate professional that's out in the market and writing offers every single week, showing homes every single week, I'm seeing the competition is starting to be slightly reduced. So now instead of competing against maybe 10 to 20 home buyers, you're now competing against maybe 2 to 5. That being said, for the most part, homes are still selling above the listed price. The prices are not going down, and the inventory is still extremely low. We're at the lowest levels we've seen. Like the inventory this year has gotten lower than it was last year. So until we start to see a change in those inventory numbers, I don't expect to start seeing a change in the market with respect to prices coming down instead of prices going up. If you're thinking about buying a home in this market, my guidance to you is if you're thinking about doing it in the next 6 months, you might want to speed up your timeline. The reason is because I expect the interest rates today to be cheaper or less or lower than what you will see 6 months from now. And if you're thinking about selling in this market, I do believe over time, the sellers will lose this large upper hand that they've had where they can get everything that they simply want out of the buyer. I do believe that's going to go away. It doesn't mean that they're not going to get a good price for their home, but all of the specific terms that sellers have been demanding may start to shift slightly into the buyer's favor. Now, again, if you're thinking about selling a home, now is a great time to sell. We're getting into the summer season here. We're rapidly approaching the summer season. As everyone knows, this is one of the busiest seasons of the year. So if you're thinking about selling, now's a great time to sell. And of course, if you're worried about, hey, where will I go when I sell? We still are very successful at negotiating 30, 60-day rent backs to give you a little bit more time to find your next place. And also, if you're thinking about, hey, I just want a little bit more convenience over trying to get top dollar, there's a lot of cash option programs that we can offer you. And the same thing on the buyer side. If you want to turn your conventional loan into a cash purchase, we have tools that we can put into place to help you do that. So anyway, so if you're thinking about buying or selling, I would love to help you. And hopefully this market update was useful for you and gave you a little bit of insight into the San Diego market. Again, I'm J.R. St. Julien with the St. Julien Real Estate Group, and I'm here to serve all of your real estate needs. Thank you for watching.